All right, Cap, this one kind of sucks ass and it hurts a little bit looking at it. But the thing is that you can't give up on this. So, from Lee Vampire, creator, catalyst maker, mother, father, and then complacency from chakra wisdom. When you're looking at creator, this is very much the Empress card. But this to me is saying between the two of them that you started creating something in your life. You brought something to life that, you've invested a lot into, and this holds such importance. But with complacency, some of you may be feeling the complete loss of this. This is a warning not to give up. That is one of the big things with complacency. Stop coasting along in situations that are not what you really want. This, looking at the curse with creator, it's telling you not to stop feeding this project, feeding this creation. Give it your life, give it your energy, continue with this, but don't allow yourself to be stuck in situations that are not going to support what you are trying to create, what you are trying to manifest and make happen here. All right, Cap. Here's your overall for the week. Shit. The 5 of Cups. So yeah. Some of you are just too focused. You're too focused on what isn't there anymore, but you're not seeing what's still there to build on, right? I mean, that's always been the big thing with the 5 of Cups. So everything that's happening around this, there's going to be a taint on it based on how you're feeling. You may be feeling disappointed, let down. There may still be some emotional pain over what you have lost. But I'm still going back to these two and thinking you can't give up. You can't completely give in. In the past, the 4 of Swords. So looking at the 4 of Swords as the past coming through, I think that you spent too much time reflecting on the pain, the emotional pain surrounding, what you have lost. Because loss is what I get from that more than anything. With the 4 of Swords, I think that at one point you have tried to, come to terms with this, right? Calling a truce with yourself, so to speak, and needing to just kind of take a break from the pain. And it's like you're needing to do that again. Now, absolutely, for some of you, it could be that there is no communication happening. And that may be where, the hurt and the pain is still coming back through. But, I still see this as you needing to pull on this now, where you're needing to just kind of, find your own oasis here away from the pain. Okay, so speaking of communication, the 8 of Wands, and I see that with this one a lot. So with the 8 of Wands, things are happening quickly, things are changing quickly here, but it's in order to get to a spot where things start to close out, right? Because you're at the 8 here, it's about lining everything up so that we can get to the end of this. Now, this could definitely be about some communication that's coming through that may be bringing up some hurt feelings, or you may be communicating the way that you're feeling now, and it could be that things just happened a little bit too quickly for you. But we'll see. Oh boy. All right. Future conditions, the King of Cups. I wonder if somebody doesn't feel bad for the way that they've made you feel. And that's kind of what I'm getting from this. So, and this is only going to be for those of you who are dealing with a person that at one point was not emotionally available to you or may have hurt you in some way. And now it's like they're trying to communicate to you that they're still supporting you on an emotional level. Now, with the 4 of Swords, this could be somebody that you've completely taken a break from, which is possible here. But there's definitely some communication that's going on. But there are still a lot of hurt feelings over how quickly things happened. But I do feel like with the King of Cups, to me, it doesn't matter, right? Could be dealing with a water sign here, but I'm telling you, this is somebody at some point who has made you feel bad, who has taken an emotional distance from you. But I feel like what's happening now is that they're trying to be more open, more available. But I don't think that you're ready yet. Your best path to follow. Cap and the Fool. Cap and the Fool. And I don't think that it's about you needing to take a risk with this person, because I look at the both of you turning away. You're turning away from each other, but for you, it's about, taking a leap of faith into something new, taking a new path here where you're not complacent with, these types of emotions, right? Like, I feel like this wasn't what was supposed to happen. Whether or not it was fair, I don't think really matters to you. It's just that the pain is something that you may still be focused on. But your advice here is saying that you need to have a new path. It's an opportunity for a new life. Have faith in the things that are yet to come, right? But I don't think with this being here that you need to have blind faith in this person again if this is how they've made you feel. Okay. So the High Priestess in your environment, looking at the Eight of Wands, this is the communication about things that you were not aware of. But it's causing pain, emotional pain. And I think that, the communication that comes through is so quick that, there really isn't time to process it. So it just becomes this thing that every time you think about it, it just brings up hurt emotions. But yet here this person is again, and is it that they're trying to communicate, things that they have felt, but were keeping, to themselves. Now, definitely with the High Priestess, though, with you, it is needing to pay attention to what that inner guidance is telling you, and no longer bottling up emotions, though, either. Because I still do think that some of you are needing to do this communication to someone. It's almost like you will feel better once they understand how they have hurt you. But it's not that you're wanting them to, feel bad or do the guilt trip thing. I don't think that that's it. It's just that is what's going to help you release that. Rather than keeping all of those emotions bottled up, because they're just going to end up exploding later on. Your hopes and your fears, the Eight of Cups. I look at this, especially on an emotional level. Forget about all the time that has been invested into possibly a person here that, just didn't give you anything. I think on an emotional level, it's really about you no longer feeding into this. You need to stop doing this now. There needs to be at least some kind of a release of this, because it's not helping you, and I think for a lot of you, there may be a fear of moving away from this, because what does that mean if you don't have this? Because I think some of you have been with this for a little bit, I think it's fairly recent for those of you who are dealing with this, but it's been long enough now that, it's starting to become a burden to you emotionally, because, I look at complacency and I mean, look at it, right? With that Five of Cups being there, absolutely. This kind of has a feeling of devastation, but it's time now. It's time to move on. It's time to move away from this. But I do think, like I said, for some of you, what will help is not bottling this up anymore and communicating this. And then coming out, wow. And what bothers me is that you're right in the middle with the Five of Cups. I don't think that this has to do with two different people. I think that this is the same person that you're dealing with here. But it's they're trying to be more, emotionally available, but then at the same time, it's they're trying to provide support, looking at both of these kings. I can be dependable, let me help you here. But I think for you, it's time to move on from this, right? And then the Queen of Pentacles, which I feel like is more you than this. Gotcha. All right. The Nine of Wands. With the Four of Swords, again, I'm trying to take a break from this, trying to call a truce with yourself, not wanting to let anything in, putting up a wall, building a wall up around yourself because of, the emotional pain and disappointment. Looking at the Two of Swords, right? This is not easy to do. It's not, an easy choice to make here to open up and reveal things that you may have been keeping hidden when it comes to your emotions involving how someone may have hurt you. Looking at the Queen of Pentacles, though, if this person is like coming back through, and also kind of communicating to you things that, they've been keeping within, I don't think that you want this anymore. Because I look at her and I've never ever thought that she needed him. She don't need him. You don't need this. You can create stability for yourself, but you're going to have to take, the new path, right? The path into the unknown, not knowing what is ahead of you. But at least you know that you have the capability to create stability and comfort for yourself. You don't need this person to help you do this. But it looks like in future conditions, they may be trying to provide you some assistance, but I don't think that that's something that you want to do. That's not a choice that you want to make. I kind of get the feeling that some of you just don't want to be involved again because you have the wall built, But I feel like this is because of something that somebody has done, but it's no longer about what's fair and what's right. It's about the fact that there are still some really, deeply hurt emotions surrounding this. Don't come to me and try to be emotionally supportive and then try to be, physically supportive in terms of like helping you and helping you out. Like, don't do that. Don't come to me like that. Let me just say my piece and let me move on. And that may be the issue. They may be, preventing you from moving on. Like you're trying to, but the persistence, and with the Nine of Wands makes sense, right? Wow, Cap. And I should be saying it with all of them, but, like I always say, right, general, it's not going to be for everybody. Awakening. Perfect. It's perfect. Speak your truth. I'm telling you. This is going to help you become unstuck, right? Because right now you're stuck with these emotions. You need to speak up. You need to speak that truth. Speak the truth about how you feel. Don't keep it bottled up anymore. Otherwise, you will continue to stay stuck. But once you get past that, there will be an awakening, an understanding that this is not what you need. What you need is to start feeding into new life and creating that new life for yourself. But to me, it's powerful, right? Once you hear yourself speak about all of those emotions and those feelings, it's like stuck is no longer an issue. When you realize what everything is really about here with that awakening, right? Wow, Cap. All right. And then like attracts like. If you are longing for more love in your life, you need to be more loving. And, whatever you put out is what you're going to get back, right? That's basically the law of attraction, like attracts like. But those actions are going to determine what you end up attracting, Now, if you start acting in a way that shows that, you are open to having a love that is worthy, then that is what you will attract. But you need to act like you deserve something better than what you are currently experiencing. Because I don't think that this is something that you need anymore. You certainly don't need this person continuously coming back around. And they may be dependent on you. They may be trying to show, oh, I can help provide for you. But no, not with the Five of Cups being there. To me, that's saying that something has already happened that has put you in a really bad spot. And I still go back to the Fool and the Eight of Cups and think, yeah, it's time to move. It's time to move on now. It's not something that you need to continue to deal with.